Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to grow up. So we're connecting the star plant, one of the star plants, to the island. We need to get 8 in total and we have, I think, maybe 3 left. And then maybe there's another star plant, maybe there isn't. As far as other plants, we've scanned them all. Yeah. Okay, so there's 2 more. And every now and then we're just grabbing crystals if we can find them. Let's zoom out and see where that one is. There we go. So we'll just make a climb to the top of this island. We're having a slight issue where the finding the last couple of the star plants is proving to be slightly difficult. There's another crystal. Just fall down on it. Throw a little caution to the wind. There's a lot of stuff that in this high island that they're trying to... Okay. So the thing here is I seriously doubt that there's another island that the star plant is supposed to grow to. Instead, it's going to get a big burst of energy. I imagine. Let's see. There's a crystal. And maybe a telerouter on that middle island. So we might be smart to take a break and go activate those. We're just generically speaking going down anyways, until we can spin around and find the 2 remaining islands that we skipped. Let's speed this up though. Yep. Gotta be careful here. I got a wind jet that pushed me upward. I guess what would throw... I guess I can go down here. Interesting concept. Like, I guess you could throw Bud in a more technologically advanced world, and then that might be a opening towards him having to do his grappling and other kinds of feature actions to try and save the day and make it a little bit more difficult. In most games, you would imagine the ability to activate a teleporter would not be centered around something simplistic. Right, so you've got to throw yourself as a ball downward. This is new, to get down to this stuff. Nope. Alright. We definitely did have some of this before, but yeah, I don't think that I think I blew that. Alright, well, back to finding islands that need things in them. Just following these humming flies. I guess maybe they're supposed to be hummingbirds? If somebody had never heard of seen what a hummingbird looks like. There's one of the islands, so we'll shoot for that. I feel like the day and night cycle in this game happens too quickly. No, downward, down, up. Right. Another crystal. We'll have to get to 60 before we get another unlock. There's the last island. So I see a sprout. Alright, there's one on that side. Would have been a little bit difficult to get a sprout to do a full 180. It seems like these flying creatures can fly forever without getting tired or needing rest. We don't see any kind of nest or anything. Yeah, I feel like you could definitely have made a third game in this series where Bud crashes on Earth. Turns out he's really tiny and so is Mom, and he has to deal with like jumping on a keyboard to type in a code at one point, or he has to struggle to climb a wall to turn on a light switch. Things like that. If he had to mess with circuitry inside of electronics. Alright, so we'll get that little cutscene, which I guess gets us close to there, but I'm still not like certain. Let's grab that. So let's look at the map now that we've done that. Turn off the waypoint because we don't need it. Like, it's almost as if the pod can't go any higher than the highest point I've been. So maybe I really do need to just climb higher so I can zoom out more. Because my only other choice would be to try and do the challenges, which still feel a little difficult, or find another star plant, and it feels like we've done 3 star plants, and if there are supposed to be any more, almost feels like I would have to get a star seed and plant my own star plant first. And some of these floating rocks are in patterns like the plants, so maybe the star plants existed at some point in a way, and then they turned into the rocks, the floating islands. Alright, well, we're left kind of to our own devices. And this is the tallest plant we've done, so this is our waypoint. This is where we go, I guess. Let's see. Now, if I put this plant down, that should help me get a lot of height anyways. And so up we go. And then we'll just float. And maybe I'll have to find another island. Or maybe I'll make the start. I'll use the sprouts of the tree itself to reach up where I want to go. Let's see. Can I plant that? Yes, I can. Interesting. So we just stand here, shoot up, and continue on our journey. And they're kind of making it easy on me. Apparently I am 1 bar close to reaching my goal, or to 1 bar close to a crystal, which who knows where that really would be. There's that crystal over there that I missed. Let's ignore that for the time being though. I didn't even need to parachute that time, or parasail. Now, if the game isn't gonna throw me a bone by giving me stems, once I get to the top of this flower plant, the star plant, I may only be able to reach higher heights using the plants and the jetpack that I've been using. Let's see, how much further there is there to go? It is getting lesser, certainly. Like, your opportunities to reach where you want to go are becoming fewer and fewer. There we go. Hey, there's a ship part. Good, because I was gonna get a little bit desperate, honestly, if there wasn't a ship part there. We have a sprout right here. Let's see if we can turn it and bend like a 180 on us. Let's see, we take that one. That one's probably going to be a little bit easier to use. So over here. to the edge, the most precarious place you could be. I wonder what the timeline of when this game came out compares to for some of the extreme YouTube videos that happened. That they might have been somewhat similar. I mean, there's still extreme videos, not just YouTube, but everywhere, of people free climbing buildings that they shouldn't be climbing, and there are quite even a few videos of people free climbing buildings for YouTube views or views and in general, and then falling to their death because what they were doing was not safe, even though they thought they could handle it. So I wouldn't be completely surprised if somebody saw a game like this and said, wait a minute, this is just too close to that which was being talked about in the news for a brief period. And although it's kind of hard to say a low polygon video game with a robot climbing was the main instigator or encourager of people doing that. And if I have to give credit to YouTube, at least they eventually did. This is a horrible view. Let's see if we can zoom out. Problem is, I'm on the underside of a rock just hanging. And I want to get out from the underside of that rock. And I can't see where I'm going. And I can't really fall, because if I fall, I'm doomed. I'd have to probably do a lot of work to get back to where I am. Yeah, this is kind of the problem with this. I'm like nowhere close to an edge. So let's just let go and hope we can kind of hover our way over to this. And get on the right side of this, which is to say to get on the outside of the island. Yeah, YouTube eventually stopped trying to promote those kind of videos, but honestly, if they got views, it's hard for YouTube not to get greedy, and their algorithm to not get greedy and promote the terrible videos in the first place. But honestly, I don't think that's a legitimate reason to say why this game didn't get a trilogy. I imagine what happened is Ubisoft, being the publisher, decided, hey, we're just not going to publish a third game here. These two games made decent money, I'm sure, but probably nowhere close to what Ubisoft was expecting, because expectations are always insanely high due to Ubisoft being a publicly owned company. Particularly, this was during this time, I believe that was when Ubisoft was in major threat of being acquired by Vivendi, or Viacom, actually Viacom, yeah. And that could have been a major factor too. But it's not uncommon at all for a company to not want to make sequels, particularly if it wasn't their idea in the first place, because at the end of the day, the person who signs off on any project high in management is usually signing off on projects that were their own ideas in part, and they want to take all the credit for, and of course none of the blame for. So if some middle manager or low tier employee comes up with an idea, even if it's a great idea, it stands less of a chance of being supported, or it might be supported for a few games, but not enough. I think we could definitely do with a third game in this series at this point. But however, had Ubisoft published one of these styles of games every year to 2019, people would have been really bored with these. You're never really going to make a game that replaces something like solitaire or crossword puzzles, something that is so ubiquitous and replayable that people would want to play it. I am doing a lot of climbing. My fingers are starting to hurt again. So yeah, an annualized release with just more content doesn't make a lot of sense. But certainly you could also go the Five Nights at Freddy's route, where, like, if there had been a lot of hype for the game, you can just churn out slight variations on the same game over and over again until you finally just decide to give it up and make a full-on game creator so that you can just customize things however you want it. And that's, for a third game in the series, particularly with the amount of time it's been, that's what I would definitely want to see, is them making an open world creator where people can can make their own versions of the world. And we made it. That was quite a pain. And just jump off and float up here. And see, this is the inside of the ship where I was doing my thing. So can I get in here? Yes. And we've got little drawings of me, by me, or perhaps some other people. Let's see, JSE. So that would be cool if they had introduced more characters. A green character. Maybe he will make a appearance. There's not a lot of room here though that a bad, like, evil version of Bud could exist in this world. That would be kind of silly. Only one ship part left to find, Bud. We'll see Mom again soon. Right, and we've got a crystal over here. Is there a telerouter anywhere around here? Because this would be the, like, new highest location. That'd be helpful. Let's see. This is still kind of the highest point. Like, alright. I almost boned that. Alright. Here we go. Up, up, and away. And then fly. It's another crystal. We are 2 kilometers up. Just hold on and see if we can find where the crystal is. There it is. Hmm. And we've got a downed moth. There we go. Did I help him? No, he just fell down again. So yeah, unless I'm supposed to drag this downed moth over here to help her heal him. Like, none of these plants that we've found seem like they have any kind of healing ability or feeding ability of the creatures. And see, that certainly isn't working for me. Off he goes. But he flies back and he's down again. Or did it fix it? Maybe it did fix it. Nope, he fell down again. Interesting. Alright, well, where are we now? Like, I feel like if we have a telerouter that is marked, then it probably isn't one we've done anything with yet. Okay, we found another ship part. If I come from where I am all the way over here, I think I can get that. Let's just get as much height as possible, find the right direction, charge up our battery, use the plant that we were using. We'll just do everything and anything possible. And which way are we going? That way. Alright, so throw that. Batteries charged full. Stand here. Highest height. Now, as we're being shot up, is 2,227, it looks like. Okay. And just a quick, well, probably not so quick flight. As we head this way. And it feels like, yeah, once we get out of the gravity area of influence, that we can start getting wind currents that fly us around more. Seeing a lot of stars, and yeah, a lot less like an atmosphere. Now, as I understand it, the atmosphere of real-world Earth is relatively precariously thin. That being said, I think at this scale, and just for video game logic, it would make a lot more sense if we could go a lot higher before we started to see stars so clearly and so easily. Also, I guess if you made a sequel of this game and you were in an industrialized nation, you could have a smog plant just filling up entire sections with smog, and that might be a way of making it more difficult to actually reach certain heights. Yeah, I feel like 30,000 feet is something that a airplane would still be able to fly in on Earth. It's been a long time since I played like Kerbal Space Program, but like 30,000 kilometers or 30,000 meters. There's a big difference between those two measurements, obviously, but 2,000 meters. No, that can't be right. Like 2,000 meters is like close to the height of some of the higher cities on Earth. And the air gets thin, certainly, but it's hardly a feeling like the atmosphere and the sky and the reflection of the water on the planet to make the sky blue. Like, that doesn't start giving way to space. Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna go a little long this recording. No need to tease. And get this last piece, because I'd like to see what this does. I don't really feel like this is the end. That now that we've reached this height and gotten all the pieces, we are done. There's still plenty of crystals to find, and it still feels like there should be probably 3 more star plants to grow. I'm not gonna bother with the crystal right now, and let's just flap up here. Another ship part. What number is that? Just kidding, I never forget. I'm like a metal elephant. It really wasn't necessary, in my opinion, for the ship to crash in the first place. I think that's all of them, bud. Let's get to the moon. Let's see, we've gotten 1/3 of the collectibles, and yeah, unless the telerouter teleports me to the moon, I don't know. Like, our next goal seemingly would be to go to the moon, but how are you gonna reach the moon? That seems like that is way further away. Like, because you would need something from this point here to connect to the moon. And then, unless that's just what this is supposed to be, is we'll go here and we'll use vents to reach the moon. And you're just gonna jump from planet to planet. Yeah, So we're kinda not there yet, still. And mission status, like, we've got all the pieces of the moon, and so maybe we'll find a teleporter and telerouter there, but after that point, it's gonna be jumping down, finding crystals, finding collectibles, yeah, and doing challenges, which I still don't really feel like we're at that point where the challenges totally make sense. And there's a crystal here, so we'll want to get that too. And let's see, we'll play this. Yeah, this plant has no purpose. So, like, 1 more plant to find, 2 things that the Y button does, 2 things that the B button does, and 2 things that the A button does. It's pretty good. Well, it's been another 30 minutes. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.